The sky wept that night, a relentless cold downpour that turned the world into a blur of grey. For most, it was just another storm, a night to stay indoors, warm and dry. But for a little stray cat named Willow, it was a night of terror. She had just given birth to a litter of 4 tiny, fragile kittens. Their eyes were still sealed shut, their mews barely audible against the roar of the wind and the drumming of the rain. They were utterly helpless, completely dependent on her for everything. Willow had found what she thought was a safe haven, a shallow alcove beneath an old abandoned porch. But as the storm intensified, the streets began to flood. A dark, icy river of water started to creep closer and closer to their makeshift nest. She watched, her heart pounding with a primal fear. The rising water wasn't just cold, it was a creeping threat that promised to steal the warmth and then the life from her newborn babies. She knew she had to move them, and she had to do it now. Licking each kitten clean, she nudged them, her purrs a desperate attempt to offer comfort she didn't feel herself. The world outside their little shelter was a chaotic symphony of danger. The wind howled, rattling loose debris, and the water was rising faster than she could have imagined. There was no time to find a new, perfectly safe spot. Survival was a matter of seconds. Her instincts screamed at her, a single powerful command: get them to higher ground. She looked around frantically. The only escape was up. Above them was the roof of the porch, a treacherous climb even on a dry day. For a mother cat, burdened with her precious cargo, it seemed impossible, but there was no other choice. One by one, she began the perilous journey. She would gently take a kitten by the scruff of its neck, its tiny body dangling, and start to climb. The wooden posts were slick with rain, her paws slipping with every desperate scrabble. She made it to the roof with the first kitten, placing it in a relatively dry spot near the chimney. But her relief was short-lived. She had to go back into the storm, back down to the encroaching water 3 more times. Each trip was more harrowing than the last. The wind seemed to mock her, trying to tear her precious bundle from her mouth. Her muscles burned, her paws were raw and bleeding, but she pushed on, driven by a love so fierce it defied the storm itself. With the second kitten safely on the roof, she scrambled back down. The water was now lapping at the nest. The remaining 2 kittens were crying, their tiny bodies shivering. She grabbed the third, her heart aching with every step of the climb. She was exhausted, her body screaming in protest. By the time she deposited the third kitten with its siblings, she could barely stand. She looked down, and her heart shattered. The water had completely submerged the nest. The last kitten was gone, swept away by the unforgiving current. A silent, agonizing cry escaped her, a sound lost in the tempest. She had saved 3, but at a cost that would haunt her forever. She had been forced to make a choice no mother should ever have to make. She had to leave one behind to save the others. There was no time, no other way. As the first light of dawn broke through the clouds, the storm finally subsided. The world was washed clean, but for Willow, it would never be the same. She curled her tired, aching body around her 3 surviving kittens, their warmth a small comfort against the cold ache in her soul. She licked them, her purrs now a low, somber rumble. She had faced the fury of the storm and made an impossible sacrifice. She was a mother, and in the heart of that terrifying night, she had shown the incredible, heartbreaking depth of a mother's love. Thank you for watching. If you were moved by Willow's story, please like, share, and subscribe for more.